Hello and welcome to your favorite travel show, Tourismus Namibia. My name is Glenora Shipora and I'll be keeping you company for the next half hour, keeping you updated with the latest news in the tourism industry and of course plugging you with the destinations that you must visit. Let's take a look at what you can expect in today's broadcast. Under topics, we discussed the appointment of Indileni Daniel as the new Environment and Tourism Minister, the Sandhof lilies that were in bloom this week, and NUST, which will confer an honorary Doctor of Philosophy degree in Tourism Management upon Zurab Pololikashvili, Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization. Under destinations, we visit the Kanaan Desert Retreat bordering the Namib-Naukluft National Park, and we also find out more about an escape room in Windhoek. Do stay tuned for this. Starting us off in our topics, while the newly appointed Environment and Tourism Minister Indileni Daniel is relatively unknown within the industry, stakeholders have welcomed it with excitement, saying this could hopefully bring fresh perspectives. CEO of the Hospitality Association of Namibia, Han Gita-Paitold, said that it would seem like her appointment is aimed at blowing as a breath of fresh air into the sector. She said that they are optimistic about this move as the global tourism landscape is evolving rapidly and constantly making it essential for governments to stay ahead of emerging trends while promoting sustainability and inclusivity. Paitold said that Daniel's background in education and dedication to community development and lifelong learning through various platforms makes her a very suitable leader in Namibia's tourism industry at a time when the private sector, through the Hospitality Association of Namibia, initiated the co-creation of the tourism training roadmap in 2023. Do let us know in the comment section what you guys think of the newly appointed Minister of Environment and Tourism, Indileni Daniel. Are you excited? Are you hoping for fresh perspectives? And what do you want to see at the end of her tenure? Getting into our next topic, a highlight on the annual Namibian traveler calendar following moderate rainfall in the south is a visit to Sandhof farm when pink and white lilies bloom in Claypan. Sandhof announced the lilies will bloom this week and gates were open from Wednesday until Sunday for visitors wishing to visit the pan. The Sandhof lilies bloom in their hundreds of thousands only when enough rain has fallen to fill the pan. The plants need approximately 15 to 30 centimeters of water to bloom, which occurs only every few years. When the lilies do bloom, they do so for only 6 to 8 days. Due to the short period and remote location of the farm, it is extremely rare to witness. Once the plants have finished blooming, the farm animals are allowed into the pen to eat the lily heads and stalks. No lilies may be picked or destroyed, and driving is prohibited in the pen or among the lilies, with orange flags and signs to be followed. This is definitely very interesting. I didn't know we have something like this. I will definitely make a trip down to the Sandhof lilies to let us know if you will be willing to go visit this farm and experience the lilies, and especially since they have such a short lifespan, it will be so interesting to experience that. Now getting into our next topic, the Namibia University of Science and Technology recently hosted a public lecture delivered by Zurab Pololikashvili, Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, also known as UN Tourism in Windhoek. The event themed Sustainable Tourism in Africa, Harnessing Technology, Inclusion and Heritage for a Resilient Future, brought together key tourism stakeholders, academics, and students fostering meaningful discussions on building a more sustainable and universally accessible tourism industry. A key highlight of the event was an announcement by Vice Chancellor Professor Errol Nwamep that NUST will confer an honorary Doctor of Philosophy degree in tourism management upon Pololikashvili at the university's upcoming May graduation ceremony. This esteemed recognition acknowledges his exceptional leadership and profound impact on the global tourism sector. Pololikashvili has been the Secretary General of UN Tourism since 2018. Well, that concludes our topics. As usual, do let us know in the comments what you guys think of these stories. On the other side of the break, we take a look at the destinations and places that you must visit when in Namibia. First up on our destination is Kanaan Desert Retreat. With endless red dunes, crystal clear night skies, and mouth-watering homemade cuisine, Kanaan Desert Retreat is the ultimate ecotourism destination. It borders the Namib-Naukluft National Park, around 70 kilometers due west of Helmeringhausen. Since acquiring the land in 2014, NUST has removed all man-made fences to create a wildlife reserve that provides refuge to a number of endemic animal species. Here's more.
The Kanaan Desert Retreat is a secluded oasis nestled in the heart of Namibia's arid landscape, offering visitors a chance to immerse themselves in the raw beauty of the desert. Located on the edge of the Namib-Naukluft National Park, this retreat is a sanctuary for nature lovers, photographers and adventure seekers looking to experience Africa's untamed wilderness in a sustainable and luxurious setting. Kanaan is renowned for its breathtaking scenery, where towering sand dunes, rugged mountains, and endless horizons create an awe-inspiring backdrop. The retreat is also a conservation area dedicated to protecting Namibia's fragile desert ecosystem and its wildlife. Visitors can encounter oryx, springbok, zebras, and even elusive predators like cheetahs, which are part of the retreat's conservation efforts. The area's dramatic sunrises and sunsets paint the desert in stunning hues, making it a dream destination for photographers. Accommodation at Kanaan Desert Retreat blends comfort with an eco-conscious ethos. Guests stay in elegantly furnished tents or lodging that offer panoramic views of the desert, allowing them to wake up to the golden dunes and the calls of indigenous birds. Solar power and water conservation efforts ensure that the retreat operates with minimal environmental impact. Activities at the retreat include guided safaris and scenic hikes. Nighttime brings opportunities for stargazing as the remote location provides clear, unpolluted views of the Milky Way. For those seeking relaxation, the retreat offers serene spaces to unwind and reconnect with nature. Whether you're an adventurer, a photographer, or simply someone in search of tranquility, Kanaan Desert Retreat provides a unique and unforgettable experience and escape into one of the world's most mesmerizing landscapes.
Next up on our destination, we are in the capital city, and I'm quite excited because this is the first of its kind, and I'm talking about an escape room. Victoria Williamson and her partner saw a gap in the market and created Namibia's first and only escape room. Enigma in Windhoek, giving Namibians a new fun alternative. I've always fantasized about doing escape rooms, and I never knew where I could do them, especially in the capital city. So I always thought that it's an activity I have to do when I'm outside of Namibia, but look at this. We have our very own escape room called Enigma. I'm excited to go and try it out. And if you're in Windhoek or you are visiting the capital city, I would say have a look at what they offer. Let's take a look at what the establishment has to give you.
My name is Victoria and I'm the owner and creator of Enigma Escape Room. Enigma was created in 2023. We decided to create this company because we saw that there was a gap in the market, especially for team building and for adults alike, not really offering much in the country other than the general going out party or putt-putt. So we decided to create Enigma, seeing that no escape room existed in the country yet. We decided to create this to offer it specifically for corporate clients and team building, but something fun for adults to do that immerses you into a different life, a different reality, something completely different that Namibians, I think, up to date have not really experienced. I myself have been running companies for quite a while before I opened the escape room. My partner was the one to push me to create the company. He always advised me to rather break away from the general 8 to 5, which we all are used to rather have a little bit more freedom in life and something that creates more excitement in life. Therefore, we've created Enigma, something very fun and challenging for us as owners, as it is ever changing. It's never the typical 9 to 5, same, something completely different every day, meeting different people every day, and getting to laugh at everybody playing the game. That's one highlight of our game life. And thus far, it's been going great. Companies have been flooding in, and that's specifically who we have been targeting, because for companies there hasn't been much to offer in terms of team building. Most of the people do the typical rope tug or the whisper story, whereas this is something completely different, which actually brings your team together and makes people butt heads and work together as a group, rather than your typical team building where nobody really gets to know each other, nobody really gets to bond as a team, where they rather get together for an hour and then go back to their normal life. This, in a different aspect, would teach you how to really get to know the person that you locked in the room with, how to work together at problem solving and to collaborate as a team, and especially in form of communication, that when you leave our building, you feel empowered as a team and you feel much closer than you were when you walked in these doors. That's more or less a background on Enigma and why we created it. What is an escape room? As Namibians, we are the only escape room in the entire country thus far. So many people don't really know what an escape room is or haven't experienced an escape room before. The idea of it is a group of people or a company would essentially bring their team here. In the rooms, we have up to 2 to 7 players per team, which means per booking, 2 to 7 people would arrive. Those team members would essentially be locked in a room literally for an hour. Within that hour, this team would have to work together to try and beat a series of puzzles which they will stumble upon in the game, which will then lead them to the one puzzle and the next puzzle, etc., until hopefully they manage to escape all of the puzzles within their time frame. Players are granted, like I said, 1 hour to escape the room. If they don't manage to escape the room within the hour, unfortunately at that stage they've lost. If, however, they manage to make it out within the hour, automatic success and ego boost for that team. Teams would have to focus on one task at a time, collaborate and communicate to solve various puzzles, clues or riddles within the room, which would then lead them to success. In our rooms, we have different themes. Currently, we have 2 active rooms. Our first level is level 1 Asylum Escape Room. This level is more of a scary vibe, but essential for everyone to play, as this room would teach you what a real escape room is. Due to the fact that most Namibians have never played an escape room before, they don't really know how escape rooms work. Therefore, we've created this first room, which will essentially teach them what to expect for level 2, which is called Nuclear Escape. This is a real escape room in that people only have their 10 clues, which they can use to escape the room essentially. In the first room, you've got 10 clues and extra assistance. The first room's theme is set in a doctor's office where team members would have to solve a mystery of which happened within that office. The second room, nuclear escape, is easily explained. If you can imagine a nuclear room in a movie, that's more or less what you can expect with that one. There you would have to save the world against nuclear detonation. Our third room will be a prison escape. That room might launch in 2025. However, for now, we don't have an official launch date. A message for all fellow entrepreneurs that are like-minded and want to create something different. I want to give you a bit of background from myself. I've been running companies for about 10 years before I created Enigma Escape Room, and I only created this due to the fact that my partner pushed me to create something. Our idea was to have a little more freedom in life rather than the typical 8 to 5 where we all find ourselves slaving away. But it's easier said than done in terms of what do I do? Where do I get the money from? What am I going to find? Just try and find a gap in the market and remember that your beliefs are limited by your mind and you can accomplish so much more as long as you just push yourself through it, immerse yourself into that mindset of I can, no matter how hard it may seem, no matter how tough the end result may seem or how impossible it may seem in the moment. It is always possible, and every single human being has something to bring to the table. Find a gap in the market, see something that the country needs, speak to the people, find out what they would like to have. And it doesn't require millions and millions of dollars to create a company. It simply requires dedication and a love for something. Find something, even if you don't see it in the moment. Try many different things, because without failure, success is impossible. So failure is definitely a must, and definitely try to keep your mind on a positive mindset, to just see the future in the way it could be, not the way it is at the moment. Right now is not tomorrow, and tomorrow might be completely different if only you start with that first step.
All right, that brings us to the end of our destinations. I am definitely looking forward to the escape room, only because, you know, it's in Windhoek and it's very close to proximity, and it's something that I can do over the weekends. But if you are planning to visit any of the destinations that we have recommended over the years, please do let us know what your experience was or what you're looking forward to if you're planning to travel to one of these destinations that we have recommended. On the other side of the break, we take a look at To The Point. Getting into our To The Point segment, former Tourism and Environment Minister Pohamba Shifeta reflects on the 12 years he spent as head of the ministry and tells us what he will be focusing on in the future. Have a look.
Yeah, my name is Pohamba Shifeta. I'm a member of Parliament, the former minister responsible for environment, forest and tourism.
So can you tell us a bit about your period and the time spent as a tourism minister and environment minister and forestry minister? What do you think some of the achievements are during that period, and also some of the challenges that remain at the ministry?
Yes, I have been in that ministry for more than 12 years, and a very exciting sector, interacting with people who have got passion. Even our staff who are professional, they are very passionate about environment, nature conservation and tourism. So it was a very exciting moment, those 12 years that I've been in the ministry. We have, I can say we have achieved a lot in terms of environmental protection, nature conservation, and also improvement on the tourist arrival in Namibia. Despite that, we had a breakdown because it's a result of COVID-19. So we have recovered. Right now, we can talk of almost coming closer to the tourist arrivals numbers that we had prior to COVID. So we are getting there because we put up some measures and some recovery plan. And that recovery plan helps the industry to take off and to accelerate the arrivals of many tourists, not only from those source market that we had previously, but also new markets were established.
And so, can you maybe elaborate a bit about what your plans for the future are?
Yes, I'm a member of parliament. I was elected to make laws, and that's why I'm here. Um, there's no difference. What I have been doing for 20 years that I've been in the executive, first as a junior minister and then later on as a full minister. I appreciate the interaction we had and also appreciate the support from those president who have been appointing me. And right now, I'm just a member of parliament, and I have, of course, time now. For imagine 20 years, I came there as a young man, a young boy, and now I'm here, now free, and also just as a member of parliament, I can do more. And my contribution, of course, would be more focusing on the legislature as a branch of government, a branch of organ of state. We have three organs of state that we call branch state branch. That is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. So now I'll confine myself to my contribution to the legislature, and also making sure that the party SWAPO that sent me to parliament, we have to work as members and leaders of the party, and I will concentrate on those two, enhancing the capacity in parliament, also making sure that the SWAPO party start to regain what we have lost in some. We have lost some grounds, so we have to look at that as a very major task that all of us as leaders of the party to look at.
Thank you very much.
Yes, in the ministry, we managed in those 7 years, we managed to establish under poaching unit, and we trained some of the members of the unit. They were trained and they were well equipped, and that's why we have reduced the poaching incidences in our national parks. Uh, and also, one thing that has been really a challenge is human wildlife conflict. As you know, that the numbers of our wild animals have increased. We have now population than ever we had before independence. You can say that it 3 times or 4 times than we had before, and that's why we have reintroduced these wild animals in the areas where they extinct. So they were there, but there were no proper conservation. So, and we have also introduced to communities to get enticed to and they buy through benefits, and when they get benefits they also look after these wild animals and they look after the general biodiversity, and we have successfully done so. Community members, although they go through insurance, especially human wildlife conflict, with escalated now everywhere, especially in the areas where you have animal, human population, bigger human, large population of human beings, and also the encroachment as a result of development in the habitats of wild animals. That also exacerbated the conflict. But we have come up with some interventional measures. One of the intervention measures is to increase the amount we offset for losses of their livestock. Uh, we have the late one. The late increment is on the cattle. So when we started cattle, I found it was around 500, and it went to 1,500, and eventually it was 3,000. And the last year we have decided to put it 5,000 because we were looking at really the value of the animal. And this year we have reviewed it again, and it's now 8,000. And 8,000, especially in the communal land, we have researched that, and our findings that normally a cattle costs about, a heifer costs between 5,500 to 8,000. So a person who lost a cow can go and buy that once that payment is done. These payments are really, we have to look at the well-being of our people when they lost their properties. Same applies to land when the crops are destroyed, other livestock like goats, sheep, donkeys, and so on, and horses. So all of them are covered, and also injuries. Human beings who are injured by wildlife, we also covered that, and assist the families who lost their loved ones when to prepare for the funeral and other costs. So these are things that really we have done to appease. It's a part of appeasement to these communities. Because the communities, we have to come up with some measures to entice them, and also to make sure that these communities are still able to embrace nature conservation. And this is not really compensation, but we try to make sure that we come to a value of that particular animal that a community member has lost, so that we appease these community members. And also as a part of encouragement to communities. And the other benefits that we have uh, uh, um, um, accrue to communities is that now the communities in the parks and all surrounding the parks were the only ones receiving some type of benefits like concessions, tourism concessions, hunting concessions, and so forth. But now we have also extended to other communities, even traditional of communities that are either recognized or not recognized, but they were historically they were driven from those places to make a space for parks. So we have gone through that, and we have directly awarded them concessions. And this has worked so well. And many people used to complain about private operators. These private operators, they operate something that a concession that belong to communities. They are not. These are not their concessions. I have decided that time that we must, by all means, 70% of concession we give must be given direct to communities, and they will go on open tender to look for operator, that's the investor. So you could see now many lodges that you see in either conservancies or in the parks that are there. They belong to communities, but they are being operated. We have an agreement, either 20 years or 25 years, that operator can recoup his investment. Then afterward, the community will decide whether to operate that lodge or that concession on themselves, or they can still continue or get another operator or investor to continue with them. But that arrangement talks about ownership of our natural resources. People sometimes they see that an operator is a private operator, but they forget that that operator is just operating, just an investor who can help that community to to build up either to erect a lodge there or facilities for tourism, or to hunt for the community. But of course, as an operator, there's a percentage that that operator has. So it's a joint venture between a community and that particular operator. And the communities are happy with that. So, and that is what we have arranged. And I hope it will continue like that because the communities must have the ownership of our natural resources because they can derive benefits from there without even depending on external funding eventually. Some of them are doing well. They build schools, they build clinics, they supply water to their communities, and they electrify villages. And this is out of this income from the concessions. So I'm happy with that. And these are things that make me happy when I visit those communities. What we needed to improve on is just the management of resources by those communities, especially funds, that you have clever people who exploit the majority of community members and only then have a club to enjoy the funds. But that one we have already put up measures to ensure that in the new law, we will be able to improve on that.
That brings us to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for tuning in and spending this half hour with me, Glenora Shipura, as I kept you entertained and also informed on what's happening in the tourism industry. From me, Glenora, until next time.